Hello. Okay, today I've got a question from Miranda. It's a little bit long, so get a snack, get yourself comfortable. Miranda says, my anorexia has been quite awful for the last couple of months due to extreme frustration and simply being fed up, in capitals. I have recently decided to embark, on a journey of unrestricted eating and the path to full recovery. Good. One of my biggest issues in the past has been planning, i.e., this is in brackets. I would plan out every meal for literally days and days in advance, and I would continually run through this plan in my head over and over for honestly every second of the day. Yeah, I know that feeling. I used to do the same thing. I used to do it at night, though. I'd go over it at night. It'd make me crazy. Anyway, it was excruciating. Now that I'm recovering, I'm beginning to notice I have a tendency to still do this, just with different, more highly palatable and desirable foods. For example, rather than lying in bed planning out my breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert for the next day, I'll plan out bacon, egg, cheese croissant that I'm going to get in the morning. It's much less extensive, but it's planning nonetheless. My question is, for the sake of neural rewiring, is it better to have the thing that I plan to have, since it's very clearly present in my mental hunger, or is it better to keep the eating disorder on its toes and have something completely different from what I planned, even if it's not something that I'm craving or satisfactory to my mental hunger? Basically, should I ignore cravings and allow my mental hunger to arise, but plan for spontaneity? Open brackets. Crazy, ED brain saying things like plan for spontaneity. How funny. The mind is wild. Close brackets. I like your sense of humour, Miranda. Additionally, I have to pack about 2 to 3 meals for each workday. How do I pack what my mental hunger is asking for when it often changes quickly and my cravings tend to be unpredictable? Isn't it counterproductive to plan out my foods and know exactly what I'm going to eat for most of the day? I hope you have some insight for me. The process has been incredibly challenging, yet hugely rewarding. I am very excited and terrified to continue. I would also like to send out a thank you. Okay, thanks. All right. Anyway, okay, so Miranda, there's 2 main questions in there. One about is planning. They're both around planning, though. So one's around mental hunger and planning. If you're lying in bed at night and if you're dreaming up what to have for breakfast, should you have that, or should you challenge yourself to be spontaneous and have something more? So that question, why not do both? So if you're lying there in bed and you're dreaming of, well, here's the thing. Right, there's a number of different ways around this. If you're lying there in bed and you're dreaming of a cheese and egg and sausage croissant, why not get up and eat it right then? I mean, that's something I would try, and I did. Do that. If you're lying there in bed and you can't sleep because you're thinking about food, maybe you should get up and eat food. And then also, but if it's, if you've just had a huge amount of food and you really couldn't fit in another cheese and ham and sausage croissant, and you're lying there in bed and you're absolutely stuffed full, but you're still planning for that morning, I'm looking forward to eating that thing. Then what I would do in that circumstance is I'd get up and in the morning I'd eat that cheese and ham and sausage croissant or whatever, and then I'd eat something else spontaneous as well on top of that. So you can do both. Yeah. Yum, yum. I really want a cheese and ham and a croissant right now, so I might do something like that. Okay, so the second part of that question was about planning going to work. So this is the thing about recovery. There's kind of when you start to understand, okay, I need to do this rewiring thing and I need to respond to my mental hunger. And then there's you've got to then take that theory and apply it to the reality of life. And ultimately what that's going to mean is that in any given situation, all you can do is your very best. A lot of people, when I say do your best, they seem to translate that to don't do your best, which is very strange. It must be an eating disorder thing because it's really common. That when I say do your best, it's like they take that as permission to not eat as much as they absolutely can, which is strange. Like, if I said do your best, say if you was trying to pass a test or have an exam or get some grades, someone like doing your best is getting the highest grade you possibly can. So when I say do your best, I really actually mean that. Do your best to eat as much and to eat as unrestricted as you possibly can in any given circumstance. So if you need to take stuff to work with you, then take way more than you could even think that you could possibly eat, so that if there's any, just pack the car full of stuff and have a load of stuff in the car, just so you've got stuff available if you would want it. I think that I certainly did some things, like, say if I'd planned to have something and I'd taken some food with me, and then I'd eat that food that I'd taken with me, and then it'd be like, right, and now I'm going to a cafe for something else, just to really piss my eating disorder off. And just like doing stuff like that, so you're kind of doing both the things. Really, you can, with your mission in mind, which is to eat without restriction, you can kind of like see how much of a one-up you can get on your eating disorder about that. Like, how far can you take that to really blow your eating disorder out of the park? And if you can get your mind into that kind of like, this is a bit of a game I'm playing right now, this is the game, to just like be as wild as possible and really eat without restriction, just go for it, then you'll find that you'll be able to kind of like work, even if you are working, which many people do take time off work for recovery, and I totally support that. But if you do have to work and you are working, then you can, if you're determined, you can work out how to eat completely without restriction. And you'll also have to work out for you, for your eating disorder and your circumstances, what does challenging it mean? If challenging it means that you take food along with you and then you eat more on top of that and you go out and buy food on top of it, then that's what that is for you. If challenging it means that you just have so much food around you in your bag, in your car, things like that, and that if that's what freaks your eating disorder out, just having all of this food present, then that's what you do. You have to work out for you, what does challenging mean and how can you really A+ this eating without restriction part. I think you're going to do great. Keep your sense of humor. Bye.